Aloha. Today's video is going to talk a little bit about where the punctuation, the ending punctuation, goes after you have cited a quote. And it's also going to talk about when you have a quote that has double quote marks, what do you do if there's a quote inside a quote? How do you handle that kind of information? So let's go ahead and take a look at what I have here as an example. Now, this is something I see often from my students, is that they have a tendency to put the punctuation in the wrong place after they've done their citation because they're trying to keep the exact wordage that they got from their textbook. And I understand the approach, but we need to change where the punctuation goes, and we will discuss how that works here. So here I have a beginning of discussion post, for example, or it could be a paper. As you notice, I start by indenting the first line of my paragraph. And I say the humanities, and I have that in quotes, but this isn't a quote, this is to emphasize. The humanities is often defined as the creative studies outside of the world of math and science, or what we now term the STEM studies, science, technology, engineering, and math. As Martin explains, and this is the author of the textbook, the distinction exists between the creative and the hard sciences because of how these studies are approached from scholarly point of view. Should be from a scholarly point of view. I'm editing as I go. Thus, we term the creative studies the humanities, and this would be a good place to put an edit. Distinct from mathematics and the hard sciences. So I've started a quote here. Let's just point this out here. Distinct from mathematics and the hard sciences, so we have a quote inside a quote here, mainly because in the humanities, strict observance or objective or scientific standards are not usually dominant. And then I have a period, an end quote, and then the citation. So there's a couple things that is not going on correctly in this particular citation. The first thing is we have 4 sets of double quotes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? What we need to do is we need to take the quotes that are happening inside of quotes, and instead of having them double quotes, they need to go to single quotes. Just like this. That way we do not confuse our reader, suggesting that we actually have a quote inside a quote. So just like I did up here, I use quotes to emphasize the word humanities. The author of the textbook I am using, Martin, he used double quotes to emphasize the word hard, as in hard sciences. So by taking away those double quotes and making them single quotes, we make sure not to confuse our reader as to what's really happening in this sentence. So we fixed the first problem here. Now the second problem is the citation. In the citation here, I have a period after the word dominant, and I have my closing quote mark. And then I follow that by my citation, and then I go on with my next sentence. But here's the thing. This actually is the next sentence. The citation into the words, the humanities are also ... Okay, this is the next sentence. Why? Because this period exists right here. So even if we are quoting, we have to follow the same rules of punctuation always. That requires us to acknowledge that this period needs to come after the citation, not before it. If the period comes before the citation, then you actually don't have a citation for this sentence, for this quote. There is no citation for this quote at all because the punctuation is in the wrong place. In fact, the citation, although it's kind of awkward, is being applied right now to this sentence. So what you need to do is you need to get rid of the period after the word dominant, and you need to move it outside of your citation here. Okay? So now this quote is being cited. Now if this was a APA form, because right now this is MLA form, but this is APA form, you'd want to include the date, right? So this is 2015. Okay, so that would be more accurate for APA. And then we started the new sentence here. And that's it. So this short video has demonstrated how to handle quotes inside of quotes, and very importantly, where to put the ending punctuation after you have quoted something, always after the citation. Thank you very much for viewing and have a great day.